Hello and welcome everyone to this new YouTube video. I am Akash and I welcome you all in today's video where we are going to learn about parameterization and correlation in JMeter and how do we parameterize our results and how do we parameterize our inputs. So in your day-to-day activity, or if you are working for a company, you might have come across this term that your manager is asking you that pick the test data from CSV file and then use that test data to do your performance testing. Or if you are a guy from an automation background, you must have heard this term or you must have done this term as well, like picking up the test data from a CSV file, because earlier what we used to do in our previous videos, we were using a hard coded value, all right, and in that hard coded value, whatever value we will give, that value is tested throughout our performance testing. But in real life, what happens, you can see in real life, to stimulate the real user, no two users send the same data. So if we are sending a data to a API and we are expecting that API should save the data, so for example, what data I am sending and what data you are sending, both the data will be different, right? My data can be bigger, your data can be smaller, or your data can be bigger, someone else's data can be smaller. So it totally depends upon the user choice, right? So to simulate the real world use case scenario, we need parameterization, all right? And don't worry, in this entire video I will show you how to parameterize the body of a payload, how to parameterize the query parameter, and how to parameterize the parameters like the path variables as well. So each and everything we are going to do it in detail and live in JMeter. So I would recommend you to stick with me, and yeah, let's get started. Okay. So first of all, what we are going to do, we are going to use this request response dot in this website. This API is publicly available wherever you are in the world, sitting anywhere. You can access this API to run your test, or if you have your own API, you can run your test on that. So under this request response dot in, I'm going to use this post API. You can see what this post API does. It's basically /API/users. So basically it will create a new user with the following details. What you have to give, name, and you have to give the job title of that particular employee, and then this user will be created. Now what we are going to do, we are going to parameterize. What we are going to parameterize, we are going to parameterize this name and this job, because name of every person is different and every person has a different job, all right? So to simulate this real world scenario, what we will do, we will parameterize. Let's come back to our JMeter, and I hope you all have set the JMeter screen. If not yet, you can see my previous video where I have shown in live how you can set this HTTP request, result tree, aggregate report, and everything. And now we will continue from there. So you can see over here we have a post. Okay, we have a post API. We have HTTPS request response dot in, and what API we are going to use? We are going to use /API/users. So you can write /API/users over here, all right? This much, and that's it. Let's move ahead and let's first of all give our body. So since it's a post API, we will have a body as well, and in our body we will have this, all right? So let's copy this and let's come here and let's paste it here. But all right, one thing you have to take care that this name will not be same. So let's remove this name, and this will also not be same, and let's remove this. So to pick it from a CSV file, you need to have a dollar symbol over here, a dollar symbol and a curly braces like this, okay? And over here also you need to have a dollar symbol and a curly braces like this, okay? And inside this you will have to give your variable name, whatever it is there in your CSV file, whatever the header. Okay, let me explain you in a different term. First of all, let's create a CSV file so that it will help you to understand better. Okay, so I'm over here, I'm in VS Code. Let me show you my folder structure as well. If I go to documents and performance testing, you can see under performance testing I have 3 folders. One is CSV data, one is docs, and one is test plan. How I organize my performance testing folder? So in test plan, basically I keep all my JMX file, okay? In CSV data I keep all my CSV file, whatever is required, and in docs I keep all the readme files and whatever it is available. So since we are just starting, so I have only just 2 files, but Once we complete the entire series, you will see a lot of file in this. Okay, so what I have done under CSV data, I have created a new file called users.csv. How you can create this? Simply what you can do, you can basically come here. Where is my VS Code? Okay, over here we are in the VS Code itself. You come to VS Code, you open your folder CSV data, what I have just shown you, CSV data I have opened, and you can just click on this and you can just create users.csv. This I have already created for you for your convenience. Now what goes inside the CSV? It's the main point, right? So what do we need inside the CSV? We go need the name and the job. All right, so let's go here and let's have a name, comma, and let's have a job as well. It's not necessary that this name and this job it is the same as here, but it is necessary whatever name you are using over here, it should be same whatever variable name you are using over here. So example, I can use, instead of name I can use user, and instead of job I can use jobs. Okay, so user and jobs, these two are my variables. So I come here and I put user over here and I put over here jobs. So what does it say? It says that user should be picked from this user and jobs should be picked from that jobs. All right, so this is your CSV. This is your first row. First row always represent your column header. If you don't give any first row, then it will automatically pick it up, but it's recommended that you give your first row. If you are not giving, in JMeter there is a checkbox that you need to check. That is a different part, don't go into that. I'll recommend you to go give the column name, because it is always good that you have a proper naming convention. All right, so user, what user you want to pick? So let's take Shane. We have a user Shane, and what job does he do? Let's take an example, he's an engineer. Probably next user is Maria, and for example Maria is a doctor. Next user can be Sarah. Sarah can be an artist. Okay, so depending on your choice, whatever you want, you can save it like this, you can write it like this, and you can hit save. When you hit save, and once you go and you see your CSV, let's view our CSV. How does it look like? Okay, so users.csv I'm opening. Okay, so you can see this is the users table. User, jobs, Shane is an engineer, Maria is a doctor, Sarah is an artist. So basically it come like this in the code. So when you write like that, it will come over here in a tabular format. And now we are good to go. We can pick the data from our CSV file, and then you can start in JMeter. So this part is done, user and jobs is done. All right, next let's link the CSV. Right now we have just linked the variable, we haven't linked the CSV. So to link the CSV, you have to click on thread group. Actually right click on thread group, then you click on add, then you click on config element, and under config element you see an option called CSV Data Set Config. So once you click on CSV Data Set Config, and boom, your CSV is linked. Not yet linked correctly, you have to browse and you have to link it manually. So first field what you see is file name. So under file name you have to use your exact CSV. So you go on browse and you go to the wherever CSV is saved, you click on the CSV and you open it. File encoding is not required. Variables name, what are the variable names you are using, that you have to set it over here. It's user and jobs, right? So our variable name is user, comma, second name is jobs. Delimiter is comma, so we are using comma, so that's why we are using a delimiter, comma. You can use a /t for a new line. This is taken as false. Why this is taken as false? You can understand it. Ignore first line, only use if variable name is not empty. So remember I was just telling you that you can just ignore this variable name and you can just remove it and don't want it, right? But that is if you do that, you have to make this as true. Since we have our variable name, we will make it as false, don't worry. Okay, allow quoted data, not important. Recycle on EOF and stop thread on EOF. These two are very important things that you need to know as a performance tester. Now let's understand this term in detail a little bit. Let's spend some time on this. You go to thread group. you go to thread group, and let's say how many thread do we have? We have one thread. And how many loop count do we have? We have 2. It means one user is hitting how many times? 2 times, right? For example, instead of having one, what if I have 5 thread? It means I have 5 users. And instead of loop count 2, let's say I have loop count of 10. 1 0 1 0. Oh, it's not coming. 1. I don't know why it's not coming. Let me. Okay, yeah. So you can see I have 5 users, and one user will hit the API how many times? 10 times. So ideally API will be hitted how many times? It will be hitted 5 into 10, 50 times it will be hit, right? Because I have 5 users and each user will hit 10 times. So how many times API hit? 50 times. But when you go to our test data, when you go to our user set, you will be able to see that we have only 3 users, alright? But how many times do we need to hit the API? We need to hit the API 50 times. So if we have only 3 users and we are hitting the API 50 times, don't you think there will be an error in case your test data is finished? So to handle that error, this true and false is required. So what do? We tell the JMeter that okay, you go one by one, you process this row, you process this row, and you process the third row as well. So once you reach the third row and you still have your thread remaining, what do? You go again to the first row, process the first row again. So it goes like 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15, and like this it will go till 50 until and unless your thread counts are finished, right? So this is how it works if you have less test data. So let's go to JMeter again, and let's go to our CSV test data set config, and over here what do we need to do? Recycle on EOF. When recycle on EOF is true, it means that whenever end of the file is reached, you need to recycle. Should be the see if you hover it, you can see. Let's hover it. Should the file be reread from the start on reaching EOF? Yes, we should reread from the start on reaching EOF. And the point stop thread on EOF, this should be kept as false. Why? Because how many threads we are having? We are having 5 threads. And if we are having 5 threads and we need to go line by line, and let's say test data is finished, and let's say only three threads are engaged, what will the other 2 threads do? They will not have anything, and they will again send a null or a empty data, and we don't want that. So that's why we have kept it false. Sharing mode all thread, so all threads can use any of the test data whatever they want. Okay, that's not a restriction for us. Alright, all the things are set and we are good to go. Once we run it, we will get our test result. Before running, one thing I need to show you. Since this is an API and this API have some authentication, you need to have some headers, you need to have some X API key, or you need to have some tokens as well, so that API doesn't give a 401 exception. I will show you. If I don't give a header, if I don't give anything, it will throw me an exception 401. Let me show you, and let me just reduce this. I don't want to unnecessarily hit so many times. Okay, I want to hit only 1 and 2. So 1 times 2, only 2 times I want to hit. Even if my data is more, it will just stop it over here, it will not go here. So that's not a big deal. Let's run it. Click run. My log is open. Okay, you can see the thread is not yet up. Let's see what happened. View result tree, and you can see there is an error over here in red color. So what does it say? Error, missing API key, how to get one. Okay, and if you go to response header, you will able to see the entire error over here. You will see the headers. Okay, you can see the exact time and everything. Response body, you are getting this request. This is the request you are sending. Okay, so what is the problem now? The problem is I am getting an error which is authentication failed. So what do we need to do? We need to have the API key. So you go to this request response API, get free API key, and this is my free API key. I will just copy this X API key. Let me copy this, come here, And to add a header, you right click, you click on config element and you click on HTTP header manager. So you come here, you click add. This is the first, you want to add X API key, and what is the value? This is the value they have given. You come here, you double click, you save it. Actually it's auto save, so you don't need to manually save it. Now you come here, view result tree. Let's clean everything, clean the logs, and let's rerun and let's see what happens. Okay, let's run it. Cool, very cool. We are able to see a green color response. Request body, response data. You can see our ID, it is created 893, the ID, the user is created. You go to the other one, there is a new ID 94, a new user is created, and you get the created at time, right? So this is how it is done. If you want, you can also do certain more modifications, like having it in query like parameterizing the query parameter or parameterizing the path parameter. For that, what you need to do, it's very simple, nothing else. What you have done till now, you need to do the same, just one extra step. You come here, for example, you need to parameterize something over here. So for example, slash, and you need to parameterize over here. So to parameterize, a very simple thing, what did I tell you? You just need to use a $sign and a curly braces, and you need to put your variable name. We can name the variable anything you want. For example, I want to name my variable XYZ. Okay, I have named the variable XYZ. What other changes you need to do? You come here, you go to CSV Data Set Config, and you come here, comma, and you write XYZ. You come in your CSV, you add a new column XYZ, and you add a new data for XYZ, for example, or buzz. Okay, so you can add any data you want, and now it's parameterized. So now this BURRR, this long gibberish term, this will be embedded in your HTTP request over here, right? It will be like BRRR when you, sorry, BURR, whatever. So when you actually send the request, it will come like this. And similarly, if you want to parameterize query parameter, you can use a question mark and again a $sign, again with this a curly braces, and whatever name you want. Let's say age is your variable name. And similarly, you come here, you comma age, and you come here, you add age. Okay, you add age, and then you can add 22, you can add 44, 34, 24, or 44, whatever you want, you can add it over here, and then it will be automatically parameterized. So that was all for this video. If you have any doubt, you can come down to the comment section any day and post your doubt. I reply to every comment. And if you have enjoyed this video, if you have learned something, you can consider subscribing or liking, whatever is your choice. Until then, I will see you in the next video. In the next video, we are going to learn assertions and timers, how to use assertions and timers effectively in JMeter. And that's a very important topic, so don't miss that video. All right. Until then, bye bye. Take care. Have a good day.